Hey guys, it's Ray, Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning. I'm doing something new. I'm doing YouTube Live, and I have no idea where this is actually showing up at. I'm hoping to do a recording and be able to put it on my channel and then share that. So, who knows? This is all new to me on this part of it. Anyway, Spray Wash Exterior Cleaning, Spray Wash Academy. We're based in Tallahassee, Florida, and I hope everybody's having an awesome morning. I want to tell you a little bit about dashboard cameras. A couple of years ago, let me start with a story. A couple of years ago, I was, technician and I were driving. He was driving. We were headed back to the office after working, and traffic was backed up. It was right by our Academy Sports in a public shopping center. A car made a left turn in front of us. We were in one of our F-250 service trucks, little Honda Accord type car, made a left turn in front of us. We T-boned them. I mean, traffic was at a pretty slow pace. Mashed the crap out of that car. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't totaled. There were 4 occupants in there. Thank the Lord, they all wound up being okay. But it was crazy because right as it happened, it was like blue lights just came out of nowhere. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Turns out there was a Tallahassee police officer about 3 cars behind us, and his dash cam was going whenever this wreck occurred. We pulled over into the parking lot. That other car, they wound up in a flower bed. Checked on them. They were okay. The police officer comes over to us and said, man, it was your lucky day. I said, why is that? He said, my dash cam was on. I was like, okay, cool. He goes over, talks to them, comes back to us. He says, look, I'm citing them in this. Here's, hang out. I'll get you a copy of the report, but you're in the clear. I'm citing them, in this. Do you want any information? I look down. My bumper has a tiny little dent in it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not worried about anything on there. Got the information. I think one of those guys may have been transported. I'm not positive. Transported to the hospital. Again, it wasn't anything serious. I didn't think anything more about it. And 2 to 3 weeks later, I get this call. And it's a semi-well-known young injury PI attorney here in Florida, in Tallahassee. And we were he's talking to me, and basically ambulance chasers is the best way I can describe him. And well, Mr. Burke, we need to have a talk about this, and I'm going to need some information from you and set up a deposition. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, well, my clients had injuries and have damages on here, and we need to determine, fault and what's going to be your liability in that. And I was like, well, your clients were cited in that wreck. I mean, I've got no liability. They turned left in front of me. I should have 0 liability in that. And he started talking about the theory of no. There's part of there's different degrees of liability and different percentages of liability, and if you were 10% at fault or 20% at fault, you could very well still need to pay for this because you did have some fault in this, and that's what court would help find out is what percentage of fault you were at. And again, he's just trying to jam me and my insurance company up for money, whatever he can get. And that's whenever I mentioned to him, well, have you talked to Officer Johnson of Tallahassee Police Department? Well, no, I have not, but I'm sure if it gets to that point, we can depose him. And I said, well, you may want to, save yourself a whole lot of trouble and effort. I don't know if your customers clients mentioned to you, but Officer Johnson actually caught all of this on his dash cam. And the accident as it transpired, the moments leading up to it, and the when they pulled out in front of me, and he was just shocked to find that out. You could just hear it in his voice. Oh, 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 oh. And I said, check on that and get back to me. And I hung up. Needless to say, I never heard from homeboy again. So, oh well. Anyway, thank you for indulging me in that story. We got into a discussion online. I know some of my mentors and people that I really respect in this industry who run fleet trucks have these dash cams on there. It's been something that I've been meaning to do because I drive a lot. I try to get out there and look at every estimate that we do. I don't like estimating by Google, especially when we're on a roof or some type of possibly difficult house. I like to put eyes on that project. So I was on Amazon the other day, and deal of the day popped up, Aki dashboard camera. It was like $20 off or so. I was like, you know what? Now's the time to do this. So I did it. I jumped on there, got the Aki dashboard camera, and wanted to unbox it and talk about this. I'm going to put it in my personal estimate truck to start with, and then see how I like the functionality of this. And then we'll go and put it in the rest of the trucks. If this $70 or so per truck saves me a lawsuit, saves me insurance rates going up, saves me anything like that, that amount will be just absolutely minuscule compared to can't figure out a box. It'll be absolutely minuscule compared to the $70 a camera or whatever it is these things cost. Aki's just one brand from my research. Garmin makes them. There's a couple of dozen brands out there. I am not very technologically savvy at all, so we will learn this together. Pulling it out of the pocket, out of the package. It even has a little screen for review, has an adjustable camera on there, a little 1.5 inch screen if you needed to immediately review stuff. Looks like USB out, and you put your own micro SD card in that slot right there. It does not come with a micro SD card, so that's something else you're going to have to wind up buying for this. Other products in the in it, we've got a power cord. This is designed to mount right behind your rear view mirror. You run your power cord up and around, so it's a fairly long power cord here. And when I say long power cord, it's a long one. So it should have plenty of room. Comes with a couple of different mounting brackets and 3M tape squares to stick it up there. And there's other little cord clips for mounting depending on your trim package in your vehicle. If I wanted to stick these to the inside of the window, you can do that to get the cord around. So anyway, on about this, let me read you some of the specs, what I liked about it. It's a low profile camera, sits behind the rear view mirror, does 170-degree field of view. So that's almost half a circle. If you figure the circle is 360, that would be 180, a half of it. So it's almost half of it. It's a low light camera as well, so it'll even see stuff at night. What I like is the emergency recording mode. It has a gravity sensor, unexpected driving incidents. You slam on the brakes, you make a really hard turn or something, it automatically starts recording and puts that into a protected loop where you can't overwrite that without some manual adjustment on there. So, because what happens on these things, it eventually just starts, covering over itself for however many hours, depending on the size of the card that you have. It's going to make a loop on there. Well, whenever you slam on your brakes, you make a really hard turn, it goes into a protected mode that can't be overwritten. So even if you forget about something, you're going to have those memories on there protected. You can also hook this up to a GPS to embed, your locations and speed data for trip tracking. I did not get that option. It sticks into a cigarette lighter. How long has it been since we've actually used our car's cigarette lighters? This cigarette lighter, and we still call them cigarette lighters. Anyway, plugs into 12 volts. Says it works extreme heat and cold better than standard battery technology. So I am really excited about hooking this little $50, $60 piece of insurance up to our trucks. And in this day and age, just think about it. There's people that'll do the what they call the swoop and stops, jam in front of you and whip in front of you and then jam on their brakes so you rear end them. I know for a lot of years the common thought was, well, if you rear end somebody, it's your fault. Well, it's not necessarily your fault, especially if somebody else causes that. People in my industry, we're carrying around a lot of weight with this water. Water is 8 gallons a pound typically, and 100-gallon tank. I mean, you got an extra 800, pounds and maybe 1,000 pounds for the equipment. Our trucks might not stop as well as an unladen vehicle. And in this day and age, also, everybody seems to be on their cell phones all the time. People are a lot less careful. I see more wrecks on the road these days. So people are just less and less careful. So this little thing is just going to be a little bit of insurance for you. Put your own SD card on there, set up to 128 gigabyte card you can put on there. Plug and play supposedly. And I'm going to read the instructions here in a few. And this will be operational in my personal estimate truck today. And I'll let y'all know how it works. But really, really highly recommend, if you have a service business, get something like this to protect yourself. Thanks. Hey, wash on, guys. Y'all have an awesome day. See ya.